all the delays and the crashing. Michael McDowell, a guy that you probably never heard of, but he won the Daytona 500. His first race. He's been racing for 14 years, and then he won his first race, which is not funny, but it is kind of funny because he's in the right place at the right time. So he got lucky. I'm not saying he's a bad driver. I'm saying it's very competitive, and there's some really, really good young drivers in NASCAR. So once you get past a certain point, if you haven't won a race by that time, you probably will not win unless you get with a superstar team and they really push the guy who's a veteran. Then you might get lucky. But other than that, there's some innovations though in NASCAR. That's what the reason I brought NASCAR up is because there's innovations in NASCAR. They're racing on a road course today. This is Sunday, the 21st, February 2021. So they're racing on a road course in Daytona. And you say, so what's the big deal? They never had a road course in Daytona before, so they've used the track in Daytona and made a road course. And those of you who don't know what a road course is it's a course that goes, they make turns both directions, not just going left in a huge oval. They make the track into a road course which goes right and left and around the loop, and it's like a Hot Wheel track now. Only real cars. So they're making some strides in NASCAR. I got some proposals for NASCAR that I'm gonna share one of these days with someone who has some influence, maybe. But we'll get back to that. But yeah, that's sports. What's going on so far? Big baseball contracts, innovations in NASCAR, and the basketball season. The basketball season. Moving on. We're going to go to a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
You're listening to a man who's almost intelligent, very close. Welcome to Probably Offensive. One hell of a show. Yeah.
Welcome back. Right now, in Texas, they had a winter storm, like the whole country. The entire country has had a winter storm, but in Texas, they've had power outages because of this winter storm. And their senator, Ted Cruz, one of the senators of Texas, decided to skip town. He decided to leave town and go to Cancun, Mexico. And he got caught. Ted Cruz got caught. Now you say, what's wrong with that? Well, he's a senator. He's not supposed to wait till they have trouble and then leave town and go somewhere where it's nice and warm and he can have fun and relax while everyone in Texas is freezing with no power, no heat in a lot of homes. In El Paso, actually, they had less trouble, not zero trouble, but less trouble, a lot less trouble than everyone else. But Ted Cruz flew to Mexico during this crisis and was busted on the plane. He was seen because, Ted Cruz has been in the news a lot. He's, sucked in Trump's butt and talking about the voter fraud and the insurrection that he helped, caused by his rhetoric of voter fraud nonsense. So Ted Cruz, he's been on TV a lot. His face, his stupid looking face, because Ted Cruz, if you remember, is the guy in the Republican primary who was running for president in 2016. He was running to be the Republican nominee against Trump. Ted Cruz was running to get the nomination as the Republican who was going to face up against Hillary Clinton. He ended up losing, and Trump got the nomination. But while they were running against each other, Trump said that Ted Cruz's wife was ugly and that his father helped to assassinate JFK. Now, I myself have never seen Ted Cruz's wife, not in picture, video, in real life. I've never seen her on TV or anything. So I don't know if his wife is ugly or not. But what I do know, that if a man, and I'm not married, so no one can really say, your wife is ugly too. I'd be like, oh yeah, buddy? Well, you can have her, because I don't have a wife. And she's prettier than your wife, stupid. You know what I'm saying? I'm not married, so. But if I was married to a woman, that would mean that I love this woman enough to feel like I can spend the rest of my life with this woman. And the last thing in the world I would want is for someone to say, your wife is ugly, and then for me to kiss that person's ass for years. Ted Cruz, after Donald Trump said his wife was ugly, kisses Donald Trump's ass. He licks his butt. Metaphorically speaking, I don't know if he literally licks the man's butt. Maybe he does. Maybe that's how Ted Cruz gets down. I don't know. But all I know is the man said his wife was ugly and he still kisses his ass. And so this is the man we're talking about. Never mind the fact that he said your father may have committed, one of the worst assassinations in the history of, America. I don't know how Ted Cruz can just ignore that. I know it's just Trump talking, just saying something stupid, but he likes that. That's how he gets down. That's how President Dumpleskins gets down, by saying things that are completely ridiculous. He loves it. It's his favorite thing in the world, is to say something ridiculous. But he said it about Ted Cruz, and I've got to be thinking that Ted Cruz's wife must think you're the biggest coward in the world. You let this man say I'm ugly, and then you go and kiss his ass. You go and lick his butt. His wife has to be ashamed of Ted Cruz. His wife must go in a room by herself when no one's around and just cry and be like, I wish I had a man who had enough courage to stand up for me. She's married to a man who doesn't have enough courage to stand up for her publicly and be like, F Donald Trump. I ain't kissing that punk's ass. I don't care anything about. I'm not worried about the base, his base, getting his voters. Because this guy said my wife would, Ted Cruz, he won't do that. He just kisses the guy's butt. So that's what kind of man he is. I'm just laying out the background of what kind of man he is, because the guy, got on a plane and flew out of town, out of the country. And if he wasn't such a cheap asshole, he would have chartered a jet and nobody would have known he flown out of the country. Probably, they would have had to dig to find out. But this guy flew out of the country on a commercial airline I'm like, dude, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, a lot of people who know who you are, they're going to see you, and they're going to be like, hey, there's Ted Cruz is on the plane. He's on our plane, flying to Cancun during an ice storm in Texas, where a lot of people have lost power. This guy's their senator. He's supposed to be there trying to help solve the problem, not avoiding it. Flying out, and then he blamed his family. Like, yeah, my kids were out of school and they wanted to go to Cancun, so I thought I'd fly down and drop them off. Stop lying, my boy. Stop lying. Don't blame it on the kids. You tried to get out of Texas because you didn't want to be in Texas when they were having all these problems, and it was cold. You know, Texas is not usually cold, so they don't prepare for the winter because they don't usually have much of a winter, and they usually don't have no ice and snow even in the winter. They a lot of times just it gets cold. It's cold for a little while, and then that's it. You know, it warms up and they go on about their business. But they don't usually have ice and snow on the ground. And it certainly doesn't cause a power outage. It's happened before, but it's 10 years ago. And so Ted Cruz, instead of trying to help him solve the problem, tried to skip town and got caught. That's the only thing that's going on. He's lying about his family. You know what I'm saying? I was just going to go drop him off. No, you weren't, my boy. You were going to go down to Mexico and relax and kick it and have fun if you can. Because nobody in Mexico knows who he is or cares. He's just an older white man with money coming down there to relax, just like a million other guys. You know what I'm saying? With money to go to Cancun. His, so Ted Cruz got himself, in a little hot water. He didn't violate any laws or anything, but, he just made himself look bad. I don't know if the people of Texas are going to vote for him, but I definitely would not. I wouldn't have voted for him in the first place to be senator because he's a jackass who doesn't seem to know anything. You know what I'm saying? He's a perfect politician, though, because he doesn't try to do anything for anybody but himself. And that's what politicians do. Both sides. Democrats, I'm not saying all of them, but a good large majority of politicians, doesn't matter if it's Democrats or Republicans. The Republicans just try their best not to do anything for the people except scare them and say, the Democrats are going to eat your babies and they're going to destroy America if you don't vote for me. So that's what the Republicans do, is try to scare you. And a lot of times it works because a lot of Republicans are elected based on not having any agenda at all, just scaring you that Democrats are going to F up everything. So I don't know what Ted Cruz is running on. He probably is just saying, you gotta vote for me for office because if you get a Democrat in that seat, they're going to mess up the world. The world will blow up in 10 seconds after a Democrat is elected. Some people believe that, especially if QAnon says it. Some people be like, oh, man, we can't allow that to happen, so let's vote for this Republican. He's going to save the world with his mere presence. Of course, that's nonsensical, but truth doesn't matter anymore. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you tell them the truth, and they don't like it that you've told them the truth. Especially if it's something that they didn't know before. It doesn't matter really what it is. You could tell somebody, 3 times 5 is 15. If they didn't know that, they're going to be like, F you, man. Okay, you take that 15 nonsense and shove it right up your ass, buddy. Okay, no one asked you. Okay, we don't care what 3 times 5 is here. And probably sure it's not 15, so you're lying and you're wrong. So a lot of facts are not appreciated these days, especially since the big epidemic, of crazy people. You know what I'm saying? Conspiracy theorists